Welcome to your reset with Christiane Piano, where the purpose is to support you in releasing all that you are not, so the truth of who you really are can emerge. This is accomplished through working with the BodyMind from an ontological perspective. We use various modalities to support you in supporting yourself exactly where you are, so that you may return to an experience of wholeness and ease, moment by moment. Deep reflection is one of the greatest tools through which to do this. To take a moment, to pause, assess, reflect, and literally and figuratively reset, come back to center, and move back into your one and precious life with increased clarity and purpose. Hello, this is Christiane Piano, and this week's episode, we will explore the power of insight. Life offers us moments of profound understanding, like receiving a silver platter laden with wisdom. These moments, flashes of deep inner knowing, are insights. They're not simply intellectual understandings. They resonate within us, a visceral recognition of truth. When we're present enough to notice these silver platters of wisdom, they become keys that unlock deeper self-understanding. They enhance our well-being, and they fuel profound personal growth. These insights illuminate hidden motivations, revealing new possibilities. They lead to greater freedom and greater clarity. They're like a sunrise breaking through the clouds, sudden truths rising to the surface, affecting everything from our thoughts to the very pulse of our heart. In today's complex world, insight is a truly valuable resource. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., a physician and poet, captured this beautifully. A moment's insight is sometimes worth a life's experience. Think about that for a moment. If you know me even just a little bit, you know that much of what I speak to in these episodes is inspired by my own lived experience. And I've noticed something interesting. I found that when someone speaks only from their head, what they share can feel flat, dull. But when someone speaks from the heart, there's a vibrancy. Something comes alive. The experience of insight is similar. Some describe it as an aha moment that comes out of nowhere, when you least expect it, focused on something completely different, and then boom, there it is, a flash of insight, a deep inner knowing that rings true at the deepest layers of your being, and its truth catches your attention like no other. Through my own meanderings into my inner landscape, I have found insights to be some of the most precious and eye-opening awakenings along the way. If you think of your own experience of insight, what comes to mind? Take a moment to think about the last time you had one. What unfolded for you? I invite you to take a moment to jot this down or simply take a mental note. Insights are more often than not a visceral experience. They are a reflection of your cultivated capacity to gain an accurate and deep understanding of someone or something. In this case, we will be looking at how you can support yourself as you navigate and develop your inward training to understand yourself more deeply. The writer Anais Nin offers a powerful perspective on self-responsibility. She wrote, "The knowledge that we are responsible for our actions and attitudes does not need to be discouraging. One is not in bondage to the past, which has shaped our feelings, to race, inheritance, background. All this can be altered if we have the courage to examine how it formed us. We can alter the chemistry provided we have the courage to dissect the elements." There are a couple of things that really stand out for me in this passage. How clearly she spoke to the growth process being an opportunity that so often people experience as discouraging. And yet she speaks to the courage to examine, to dissect. The use of the word dissection humored me, as I have never heard of self-exploration put this way, but it does ring a bell. Getting underneath what is driving each of us, that curiosity-infused self-inquiry into what makes us tick, is so key to lasting shifts. I have found along my own path that it takes something to stick with it, to engage with life and be open to discovery, even if at times I may feel like I'm going backwards, don't understand, or simply feel confused. Growth is not a linear process and does not look the same for anyone. But I will say that as I have shared in conversation with people across the globe who are invested in their own well-being and self-development, that there are commonalities. And the one commonality that is highlighted over and over again is the discovery of repeating patterns in one's own life. Sometimes, when you feel like you have finally outgrown something, it can feel like it's rearing its head once again, and the experience can be frustrating. But, and this is a big but, infused with warmth and compassion, whenever we feel like we're done with something, it might not be done with us. What I mean is this: patterns have layers. As one layer loses its grip, another, often offering a new learning opportunity, will surface. It's like peeling an onion. Each layer reveals something new. Most people spend their lives alternating between trying to solve their problems and looking for an opportunity to take a vacation from them. But what if what you are dealing with is not a problem at all? What if what is sourcing your challenges is there to teach you something and support you in learning about yourself? What if, as you distinguish and understand the root cause, you are then freed up and your life can be about something other than surviving the symptoms that come with your patterns? We often have this idea that life should be smooth sailing, filled with happiness and effortless success. I think many of us can relate to this desire for a life without difficulty. It's a natural part of the human experience. But what if the challenges, the stress, the complications, what if they're not roadblocks but opportunities? What if they're actually invitations to grow? And perhaps it's in those moments of challenge, stress, and complication that we truly discover what we're capable of. All the greatest and most important problems of life are fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. So now we will turn our attention to how to possibly develop more openings for insights to make their way through. Think of it as an invitation to life, that you are willing, ready, and open, and yet release the desire for timing, outcome, and the picture in your mind of what it may look like. Life can feel challenging when what we expect doesn't match what's actually happening. We may not even realize we're carrying these expectations. But when we resist the reality before us, it can lead to patterns of stress, a kind of stuckness that accumulates. This stuckness can manifest as pain, whether physical, emotional, or both. It's like an energetic blockage, a knot in both the body and the mind, often accompanied by emotional unease. In the body, we might experience it as tightness. In the mind, as a problem we can't seem to solve. But it's the same energy, the same tension present in both. Finding well-being and returning to wholeness. The experience of wholeness involves releasing these blockages and understanding where they originate. Think of it like clearing a path in a dense forest. When the path is clear, sunlight, like insight, can more easily reach through. To get the most out of this episode, I invite you to pick out something in life where you are experiencing challenge. Once you have identified something to work with, are you able to see where your expectation is not matching up in reality? If so, where do you feel this in your body? How is it showing up in your thoughts? The thought will sound something like this: something is that should not be. Or something is not that should be. Once you are clear on that, the next step will be to get curious about how this situation is confirming something about a deep belief you have about yourself or life. Now, this is easier said than done and will not come to you immediately. And anything that does arise is just the mind doing what it does, trying to block you from seeing something it does not want you to see. So feel free to write the answers down, be aware of what is coming up, perhaps even the urgency to find the answer. And then I invite you to close your eyes. Take several deep breaths and invite yourself to be with the question. Do not search for the answer. Allow the answer, which often shows up as an insight, a flash, an opening, a clarity, when you least expect it. Now let's look at an example to see how this works in real life. Let's talk about procrastination, something I think many of us can relate to. Imagine someone who's constantly putting off a project they know is important. They might be experiencing some friction around this project, a sense that things aren't flowing as smoothly as they could. Their expectation might be, I should be able to do this easily and without any stress. But the reality is, the project feels overwhelming and brings up feelings of self-doubt. Ask yourself, what am I expecting in this situation? And how does that expectation differ from what's actually happening? They might experience this mismatch in their body as tension in the shoulders, a general feeling of being overwhelmed. Where do you feel this mismatch in your body? Is there a tightness in your chest? A knot in your stomach? Pay attention to these physical sensations. Your body often holds clues to what's happening emotionally. So tune in and see what it's telling you. Their thoughts might sound like, I'll do it later, I'm not in the mood, I don't have the time right now, it's too hard, I'm going to mess it up anyway. Notice if your inner dialogue includes phrases like, this shouldn't be so hard, or I should be more organized. These are often indicators of unmet expectations. I myself have struggled with procrastination, and I found that it often stems from a fear of failure or a desire to not face something, whether it be a situation or something within myself. When I notice myself procrastinating, I try to get curious about what I'm afraid of or what I'm trying to put off. What's the underlying belief that drives this avoidance? This situation, this feeling of being overwhelmed by the project, often reflects a deeper belief we hold about ourselves. It might be something like, I'm not capable, or I'm going to fail, or who do I think I am? Getting curious about these underlying beliefs is key to personal growth. This step, connecting the situation to a deep belief, can be tricky. It might not come to you right away. Be patient with yourself. It's a process of exploration. And remember, sometimes our minds create stories or distractions that make it harder to see the deeper truth. This is a natural process. Just observe these thoughts without judgment. Sometimes the insight is simply that I need to be kinder to myself, that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, and that starting small is better than not starting at all. Other times, the insight is about breaking the task down into smaller, more manageable chunks. Sometimes the insight is about asking for help, something I often resist doing. The process of self-inquiry, of being willing to look at the underlying beliefs, is often more valuable than any specific answer. It's about understanding myself a little better each time. Can you see how this process of self-inquiry, of exploring the expectations, the reality, the body sensations, and the underlying beliefs might apply to a situation in your own life? Take a moment to reflect on that. This kind of self-inquiry is incredibly valuable because it helps us become more aware of ourselves, our motivations, and our behaviors. And one of the most powerful things we can become aware of is the presence of repeating patterns in our lives. Now, what's the next step? Well, once we've identified a situation and explored the underlying beliefs, how do we create lasting change? A crucial part of the next step is recognizing these repeating patterns, becoming aware and having the courage to recognize these patterns. It is an exploration into your inner world. It's one that benefits from kindness and patience. It's about creating a space of calm, introspection, a willingness to step back from our usual ways of thinking, cultivating insight into our behaviors and motivations. A healthy dose of courage to support us in exploring how our past has influenced us. I cannot stress enough the importance of remembering that identifying a repeating pattern is a powerful first step, but awareness alone isn't enough. True, lasting shifts comes from understanding the root of the pattern. For example, if you notice you procrastinate, ask yourself, what is driving this behavior? You'll likely notice a corresponding tension in your body and mind, a knot that speaks to your relationship with yourself in this pattern. Distinguishing the root cause allows new choices to emerge naturally, effortlessly. Change flows from within, rather than being forced. Too often, people stop at simply identifying the pattern. missing the opportunity for deeper, lasting change. Let's now explore some foundations for creating the space you need to move from autopilot to present moment awareness. These foundations will support you in recognizing repeating patterns and increase your experience of insights, those silver platters from life, as I like to call them. Creating a calm inner environment is crucial for recognizing repeating patterns. Just as a calm mind is more receptive to problem-solving insights, it's also more attuned to the subtle cues of our own behaviors. Think about it. When you're stressed, your mind races, making it difficult to observe yourself clearly. You're more likely to react on autopilot, unconsciously repeating old patterns. While we can't eliminate stress, we can prioritize our body-mind well-being. Practices like somatic work, meditation, spending time in nature, or simply creating quiet moments for reflection can help. This inner calm allows us to observe our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with greater clarity, fostering insight into the interconnectedness. Purposefully tuning and turning inward will support you in discovering repeating patterns. So much of life calls our attention outwards, so this shift from external distractions to internal exploration is key. It's about gently turning your attention inward, exploring your past experiences, your relationships, the choices you've made. Journaling, conversations with someone you trust, a BodyMind work session, or even just quiet contemplation can be valuable tools. This is the calm that allows for gentle self-examination. Anais Nin describes allowing us to inquire without judgment. Most often, patterns operate outside of our conscious awareness. They're below the surface. Therefore, as you may have experienced with insights from problem solving, they often arise during moments when you are not thinking about the problem itself. This too applies to insights into your life patterns, allowing your minds to wander, to explore other activities, to focus on something that brings you enjoyment, allowing your memories and feelings to surface as you witness them without judgment. This naturally creates space for those quiet aha moments. And as you reflect on these moments, ask yourself, do I see how this situation, this pattern, is feeding into a deep-seated belief I have? Do you sense that these insights don't arise solely from the thinking mind, but rather from a deeper place within, a wisdom that resides in the heart? Many of the patterns we have keep the deep-seated beliefs about ourselves alive. In a sense, they feed them. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Like a dog trying to see its own tail. We're often blind to the very things that shape us most. But what if you could break free from that cycle? What if you could finally understand the connection between your patterns and your deepest beliefs? Perhaps you're intrigued enough to explore that for yourself. These explorations can lead to profound moments of understanding, moments that resonate deep within. When an insight presents itself, it is a felt experience, a deep inner knowing. It is a sudden, visceral understanding. It's a feeling of deep recognition, a knowing that resonates within you. It simply rings true on all levels of your being. Your insights, those silver platters from life, will infuse you with life-giving energy, supporting you in living into your visions, moment by moment. When you're aware of your patterns and understand their roots, you'll naturally start making conscious choices that align with your values and deepest desires. This release of tension, this awareness of where those patterns came from, is where true and lasting change flows. It's the path to well-being and a return to experiencing wholeness. So where are you on this journey? Have you noticed repeating patterns in your life? If so, that's wonderful. You've taken a huge first step. And perhaps now you're curious to explore a little deeper. Perhaps you're ready to gently and courageously explore your own inner landscape to discover the roots of these patterns. If so, feel free to reach out to me about BodyMind maturation work. Remember, this path lies not just in awareness, but in the gentle and courage exploration of your own inner landscape. It's your voyage of self-discovery, an exploration of inquiry and reflection, an exploration that is so uniquely personal and yours. And I invite you, with kindness and courage, to continue this exploration. It is a path of returning to the experience of wholeness. As Eleanor Roosevelt so eloquently put it, the purpose of life is to live it, to taste it, to experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. With that, I'll say farewell. I look forward to hearing what resonated with you. Feel free to share, like, or follow. You are officially invited to join me and a group of vibrant individuals from around the globe for the Reflections Club. We gather together online the first Saturday of each month for 1 hour. No preparation needed. Just bring yourself and get ready to have fantastic conversations with people who are passionate about the benefits of body-mind well-being. Human connections are deeply nurtured in the field of shared story, and something magical occurs when people come together to share what resonates with them personally. These meetings will support you in taking your reflections to the next level and support yourself even more. If you have questions, feel free to reach out or simply visit my website, www.christianepiano.com.